Hello and welcome to the review of Week 1 and a preview of Week 2 of the Immortals Cup. Supreme Commander Forge Alliance. Of course, we are getting the new map for 2v2, switching from Roanoke to the Cold Place. Cold Place favorite of Total Annihilation. Although Roanoke was a great choice for Week 1. It was a random choice, but it was a good one. For the 1v1, also an upgrade from Ambush to Enemy to the 3v3 map, Icelands. Of course, a little more mass extractors, more choke points, so a lot more fun. So that should get even more crazy than Ambush the Enemy did. But Ambush the Enemy did give us some good games. One thing to note about the Cold Place, you can see all those green dots. Those are all mass extractors, very spread out. Of course, Seraphim looks absolutely crazy on that map with their floating arty. And the Navy and land are going to be extremely important together. And 2v2, right to left, expecting good things. So right off the bat, this video is going to contain a whole bunch of spoilers for Week 1, obviously. So if you haven't seen all the casts from casters like Napalm, TJ, Guile, Squall, or myself, please watch those. Don't spoil the games for yourself. But if you don't care, you can go ahead and keep watching. So Group 1, very important games. Deathly's Rage versus Veni Vidi Air Snipe, some of the best games happen here. But Deathly's Rage team, they did say they're going to take the whole thing, and they really meant business. Especially Black Death versus Congreve, that was a very methodical battle. Black Death made Cybern very proud in this one. Another game, Eisen versus Arma versus Kiss My Ass, where Mize really tried to put up a fight against Arma. Really glad he did, but Arma against most players is just absolutely unbeatable, and with those Seraphim arty drops all over the place on Roanoke, it was really just survival. And of course, Game 2, Carlitos put up a good fight against Armageddon. Maybe he would have picked Eisen, but Eisen had a terrible connection that day. Of course, the schedule predictions. So first, very important games. Of course, Kiss My Ass. If they're gonna make an amazing run for this Immortals trophy, they gotta start it with beating Deathly's Rage. If they don't, they're basically out. They will still have Game 3, but that'll be very difficult. And my prediction is that Deathly's Rage are gonna win, where Carlitos will try to make it 1v1, but Black Death, just like he beat Congreve, most likely will beat Carlitos, but will be some really good games for history. In the other one, we got Veni Vidi Air Snipe. Congreve and Ubelos, two extremely good players going up against Eisen and Arma. They're going to be fighting for their life. Eisen and Arma already sitting on 1 win. They might get complacent, and that's going to be the chance. Veni Vidi and Air Snipe got to get this victory, otherwise they're basically out. And in most likelihood, Eisen and Arma will pick up the victory. But in the second game, I do think Congreve could pull it off against Eisen, make for a very exciting Arma versus Ubelos Game 3. But based on my predictions, Deathly's Rage and Eisen and Arma, Week 3 are going to be fighting for first place. But really love to see a surprise. Maybe from Kiss My Ass, but more likely from Veni Vidi Air Snipe. Moving on to Group 2. This is the one with all the tournament organizers. And here we had Q's Quids with Renzilla pulling off a Mercy Snipe against Lucian in the 2v2. C-Solar tried to get the victory in the 2v2, going 2v1. Put up a good fight, but just not enough. Of course, then C-Solar and Lucian went on to demolish Renzilla and come one by one to take the victory 2-1. Some really good action in that one. Another game, we had the Small Broads go up against Spider Pigs. Voodoo and Kocher comfortably took that one. Of course, Voodoo, Kocher, pretty scary teams, it seems. Small Broads are going to be taking on Q's Quids, and that's going to be basically for who has a chance to move on. If whoever loses that game, they're basically out. And my money in this one is going to be on Renzilla, perhaps, or Q's Quids pulling off another Mercy Snipe. They looked extremely good against the GG Nor. And beating Lucian does get you some respect. And then, of course, Income played extremely well as well. And do expect him to win Game 3, even if Renzilla is unable to beat Mag, which could be a likely outcome Of course, then Gigi Noor and the Spider Pigs, that could be the game for first place. And that's extremely difficult to call, and I do think it's going to be an exciting situation. My first dream about what could happen is that the Spider Pigs will take game 1 on the cold place, but then see Solar against Kocher. In game 1, see Solar, this will probably be a UEF versus UEF affair. It'll be extremely close, but see Solar will beat Kocher. And then Lushan versus Voodoo, and whenever you see that battle, you know it's going to be an hour of absolute madness and perfect gameplay. And I do think Lushan, just like he's done many times, I do used to think there were, actually, remember Impa Cup 1, that was the final, Lushan versus Voodoo. And that was some exciting games. I did think at that point Voodoo was going to beat Lushan, but after seeing Lushan dominate since then, I will have to give this one to Lushan for this awesome comeback. That probably won't be at all what happens, but that's what I dreamed. Moving on to Group 3, this is the group of death where any predictions are pretty much pointless, but I will make them anyway. We can see here the results. YouTube Stars versus Immortals. We did see YouTube Stars pull this off, and actually I think this is exactly how I called it, but that was a total accident. TJ pulls it off in Game 3 against Laneless. And really that first game was one of the better Roanoks we've seen, where it was really back and forth action there. And of course another game, the Brain Bunch, Brain Fart and Brainwashed really. I'm not really sure if it was the Potato Brothers not playing as well as they could, because it was quite dominant by Brain Fart and Brainwashed, and if they play like that, they just might be contenders for the whole thing. And Brain Fart beating Mercy Time actually quite easily, it seems. And of course, my predictions now, I do think unless the Potato Bros can do something different, they really got to pick it up. I do think that YouTube Stars will beat them. Once again, TJ taking Game 3. Of course, any predictions in these groups are pretty ridiculous, but maybe I'll get lucky again. And of course, Brain Bunch versus Immortals. I do think that Immortals will take this one from the Brain Bunch, unless if Brain Bunch beats this one again, they are going to most likely get first place in this group. It will be Brain Bunch versus YouTube Stars Game 3. But I do think that this will be more interesting, and Laneless will get it in Game 3, which will put a whole bunch of teams on one victory. Except YouTube Stars, based on what I'm saying, YouTube Stars would have 2 wins, and everybody else would have 1 except the Potato Brothers. But it could turn out if Potato Brothers win and the Brain Bunch lose, everybody will have 1 victory, and week 3 will be absolutely unpredictable, and it'll be really awesome. And I don't even want to think about draws, which are also a possibility. And of course, Group 4 was the most uneventful. I think Pink Paranoia and Blini Bikini's Fight Orchestra, they had one of the earlier games where Pink Paranoia got the victory. I think this one was casted by TJ. But unfortunately, one of the more anticipating battles where we would see Tag go up against Putin Shakrut. I guess that's how you say it. It didn't actually happen because Tag Pebble and Tag Rock couldn't connect to each other, so that's unfortunate. Hopefully they figure that out, and this tourney can continue. And of course, Tag are always a favorite in any tourney they do play. I would love to see them make it out of this group. They most likely will. Of course, my prediction here, very important games in week 2. Pink Paranoia, think Epic, Patina and Chocoret, that's Chevy and Tisba. I do think they have a chance to either get first or second in this one. I think they will beat Pink Paranoia. If they don't, that's going to make it quite exciting. And then the other one, the other prediction, if Tag can figure out how to get an internet connection, they will probably get first place and go undefeated. So that was the review and the predictions. Another thing that I decided to try is to put up a standings for all the players so we can keep track who's getting the ACU kills, who's getting the 1v1 wins. So just keeping track. Give 2 points for the 2v2 win, 1v1 wins give 1 point, half a points for an ACU kill. So this is definitely major problems with this if you want to rank players, but this is just for bookkeeping. And so far, first place TJ, who got 3 ACU kills. Of course, the players who won the first game and got to play the second and won both are a whole bunch of second, third, fourth, and fifth places. And please, if I made a mistake here, I don't think I did. Please correct me. I think this will become a much more interesting table as the tournament progresses. In the 1v1 against Congreve, Black Death came out with a very early Jester here, well after minute 3, which turned out to be quite devastating. Really put Black Death in a good position. This is the threat from Cyber, and of course Congreve being EEF. We already see a couple kills, a couple engineers. Power production, factory productions all stalled. Plus picks up a quick radar and forcing Congreve to make a whole bunch of flak. The Jester wasn't done, however, after attacking the main base. Looked for expanding engineers. And found a radar plus an engineer. So a total of, this is now 5 kills. And the 6th kill is the radar. Black Death then set this Jester down. And it eventually was killed by some interceptors from Congreve. In the game against Chosen and Laneless, TJ and Napalm found himself on a bit in the back foot with an unsuccessful chicken. So Napalm put himself on a transport, a T3 ACU with a missile launcher, and of course that is a rapid fire missile launcher. Cruise missile launcher, you can see he's now underwater, getting in range of Laneless Island. He's going to start launching missiles quite quickly. Of course, this is very dangerous because you can get sniped if you get found out. A couple of torpedo bombers will put an end to all your fun. You can see here that was a great target. Tech 2 mask ejector halfway to Tech 3. Also a Tech 3 mask ejector. It takes 2 missiles to kill that. But that did really slow Laneless down just enough for TJ to dominate in Navy. And continue all that up. And that was the 2nd missile to kill the Tech 3 mask ejector. Eventually, of course, Laneless does get some TMD, but that's a bit of a mistake. And for the final highlight of week 1 of the Immortals Trophy Cup, I'd like to look at the game between Black Death and Congreve. Really a great battle here. We can look at it at fast speed. You can see all the different battles that are going on at once, multiple fronts. Where the really positioning on the ACU was critical. See a massive Tech 1 land spam from Congreve here at this point in battle middle 11. The ACUs really going up against each other. Congreve trying to take the sides. But here, this is where recon and fast reaction speed was so critical. Some Tech 2 now made it on the map. Some Tech 2 point defense. Big air fight that looks like Congreve has won. And of course, mobile shields for you. You have a big advantage versus Hybern. And here, Black Death was able to sneak in with some Tech 2s, took out a couple of mask ejectors. There was some stealth fields involved. But this whole time, Black Death did have control over the middle, actually spamming Tech 2 from the middle with Tech 2 radar in the middle. And that really gave him a huge advantage in terms of knowing exactly when to react and how to react. And eventually, the hoplites with superior range were able to dominate. And here, that was just numbers on the right side. Congreve did put up an excellent fight with those mobile shields and Tech 2 of his own. But Mungo's just not as good unless you get a whole bunch of shields and run everything over. But that's difficult to do. You gotta have perfect micro, and eventually you can see how Black Death, kind of like if you watch UFC, one of those battles when you get somebody down, you just gotta keep knocking them down. Don't let them get up, because if you do give them a chance, they just might come back. This whole time you are feeding them mass through reclaim. But Black Death just surrounds and uses the map control to get the superior eco. and then superior numbers. Mobile missile launchers making an appearance here, coming up minute 30, taking out any Tech 2 point defense. And you can see here Congreve thinking about making a push here on the right side with the ACU. Another air fight, still won by Congreve. On the left side though, major defensive position, Tech 3 from Black Death. And eventually Congreve just overwhelmed